Greetings, Goddess Body Mind Spirit community. This is Tyra Omilade, your Goddess Guru, and y'all know I love helping the sister friends along with their life purpose using the power of ancient wisdom and the Goddess Centered lifestyle. Hey, Queens, how are you? So glad to be here. Hope that all is going well with you and yours. It's been a wild time, so I'm looking forward to hearing how are you doing? Let a sister know. Hello to all of the hashtag replay queens. Thank you as always for watching and for commenting. Y'all know I love you. So yeah, let's talk a little bit about the wisdom for this month. Let's see here. Hey, Queen, how are you? Greetings. Excuse me, Eileen. Glad you are here, Queen. Hope that you're having a wonderful weekend. Okay, so yeah, just to let y'all know, mark your calendars for an upcoming solstice retreat. I would love to have you join me in the solstice retreat, such a special time of the year in so many ways. Let me pull up the boom. Here's our calendar so we can see what the world is going on. What's really going on? Okay, so I'm just going to talk about the highlights for this month. Yeah. When I look at this month, it just doesn't look, it's not anything that's out of the ordinary. Mercury will go direct, multiple times a year. So that happened on Friday. And Saturn retrogrades once a year and then goes direct. And Saturn will stay retrograde for, I don't know, several months. It'll be in the fall before Saturn goes direct. So, whenever, let me pull up today's chart. Whenever one of the major the social and outer planets, social being Jupiter and Mars, and then the outer planets, Jupiter and Saturn are the social planets, and then the outer planets, Pluto, Uranus, Neptune, they all go retrograde for a good long while. And so when they go retrograde, it's usually the week that they're going retrograde, their power is amplified. And the week that they are going direct, the energy is amplified. So that's essentially what we're in right now with Mercury, because Mercury direct, Mercury is very, very slow right now. You could still hear of people having issues with technology. This retrograde turned out to be a little bit strange and not what people expected. It was sort of like subtle and kind of catching us off guard. And it seemed like we started off fine. I was like, okay, looks like this is like, okay, chill. And then right at the end, it's just been like hairy, kind of like helter skelter. So I say, I don't know why I can't stand it when this thing falls down. Excuse me. Let me pick it up. Oh my gosh, I'm sitting on it. Oh no, my chair's on it. That's what's going on. So when the planets are going retrograde or direct, they're so slow. So like right now, even though I feel like things have eased up a little bit, with both of them finally, retrograded or going direct, it's still like a time to be mindful, to proceed with caution. Mercury retrograde, excuse me, definitely is one of those times where it's important to just kind of proceed with caution. And Saturn, now, one of the things I learned from one of my teachers is Saturn retrograde is actually really good because, retrogrades call for patience. So I would say that it would be important to be patient. And, that's one way to approach this time because we're so used to a lot of us just go, 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 go. And so this time is more like being slow, methodical. Saturn is a sign that it's very mindful of what it's doing. It's very deliberate. So these are words that I think would be great. And we actually started this month off with a new moon. Well, yeah, in new moon energy. So it's like definitely this energy of being methodical and deliberate in what you're doing. And another thing about Saturn is if there's something you did not complete, Saturn retrograde will help you to complete it. So, one question I have for you is what do you want to complete in the month of June? Go on ahead and drop it in the comments and we'll hold each other accountable. For the month of June, I'm completing a new certification that I've been working on. Um, and it is how to be a circle facilitator, how to lead circle. We're bringing back the ancient art of women's circles. So I'll be finishing that. And the other thing I need to finish is getting my spreadsheets together for my finances and just kind of getting caught up on my books. So those are like the two major things that I want to use Saturn going retrograde to focus on. So yeah, I would love to hear from you. So I just encourage y'all, let's go on ahead and put it out there. And yeah, let's put it out there. I might, yeah, okay. So let's see here. Uh so yeah, Saturn retrograde. And whatever house Saturn is retrograding in, it's an opportunity. So, what I think is a good way to think about it, because Saturn is in Aquarius, I think it's a really good time to do excuse me, to focus on there's something that you're working to make progress on, but you're probably new at it. And so this is an opportunity to kind of like really dig in and see, okay, what needs to be done and, go back and maybe retool some things. But it's a great time for making progress on something. Let me see here. What else would I say about Saturn retrograde? So, and a lot of times when planets like that are retrograde, it's very subtle. And I would say, let me see here. Whatever you've been working on, maybe there's something that you've really wanted to make good progress on. This is June. Okay. So Saturn is on the 25th degree, 24th. So it might be something that uh let me see, where is it gonna go to? August at a bit. Yeah. So something at the top of this year. So I want y'all to remember the top of this year that felt like the longest January in a very long time. Okay, business for Eileen. Nice, nice, nice. I love that, Eileen. I'm so excited for you. Actually, Saturn is very much about business. And so is Aquarius. It could be something like online business. So I'm excited for you. It also has to do with using technology. But so when we're looking at like, what is this going to be about for me? What is this retrograde going to be about for me? We look at the degrees that Saturn has been covering since it went direct, which I don't exactly remember when it went direct, but I can tell you that if we go back to January, oh wow, Saturn was at the 12th degree and it was direct. Um, I'm sorry, y'all. I know I'm kind of like, I'm just going to make it smaller so it doesn't look so crazy when I'm scrolling. But let's see how far back it's going to go. It's going to go to the 18th. Okay, so it's gonna go back to the 18th degree. So I would say starting around February, the end of February, you may have found you were working on something and you want to make progress on it. Maybe you made a little bit of progress, things kind of slowed down, or maybe it's like you want to go back and revisit it in some kind of way. So this would have been something that got started in February, maybe is when you started focusing on it. Maybe the topic is from March. I'm just giving you months when Saturn was on these degrees, and because it was what was happening then that you will be focusing on now. And so, yeah, does that help? Did that make sense to everybody? Saturn is going to be reviewing things that we've been working on since the beginning of the year easily. And your Saturn is in Leo. Okay, I love that. Yeah. Creative business is what I would say for that, Eileen. Okay. So, um, okay, so on the 13th of June, there will be I need to put a notebook under here. It's like a funny sound, hollow or something. On the 13th of June, June, Mercury goes into Gemini. So, um, yeah, that's awesome. Oh, that's right. It's going back into Gemini. So Mercury is actually doing the same thing because what Mercury is doing now are degrees that Mercury covered a while ago. So it's like this time of review. It's definitely, you know, sometimes people are like, why can't I get this done? Well, I wonder if we're not really working with the energy. If instead of working with the energy is working us, right? Or we're just not in alignment with the energy. And so let me tell you, when Saturn is on the scene, doesn't necessarily mean things will be fun. However, they will be productive. They will produce fruits, right? And so with both Mercury, which right now Mercury is retrograde in Taurus, which is about manifestation. It's like, did you get your manifestation? Do you need to go back and reclaim or to do something in order to like finalize the manifestation? And it's would be in your Taurus house and your Gemini house. Okay. And yeah, so I'm gonna say it that way. And so Mercury coming back into Gemini, mwah, it is so good in Gemini. That is its home sign. And so things that I would do if I would, what I advise for Mercury and Gemini is definitely walking. Okay. Walking all the time whenever we're dealing with Mercury. But Mercury and Gemini, definitely a good time to walk, soothe that nervous system. What are you going to do to really focus on your mind? Maybe you need to take some small trips, make some plans for some small trips. It's also a really good sign for learning, like learning a new skill, but it might be that whatever you're going to work on learning is something that you started but you didn't finish. So very good time for that. Good time for workshopping, or going to a workshop, leading a workshop, being doing things that have to do with business. Mercury is fun, laughing, watching comedy shows, specials, movies. So, yeah, I love Mercury and Gemini. It's also a really good time for people who are in communication of some sort, social media. If you need to be focusing on your social media presence, then this is a very good placement. Yes, a creative business. That is so good, Eileen. So, so good. I love that. Um, and then we're gonna have a full moon in Sagittarius. Um, Sagittarius. I think that this is such an interesting full moon. The last eclipses happening in Gemini and Sagittarius mostly happened in Sagittarius. We had more eclipses in Sagittarius than we did in Gemini. So I remember thinking like this Sagittarius area is very, very important. So what I'll say about the full moon in Sagittarius is I hope deeply that this is a moon where people will feel like, "Mm, it may have been hard in this area of life, but you finally are seeing progress." Okay. You're finally seeing progress. I won't go through what that moon will mean for each sign because I'm going to do a full moon a circle. So y'all look for that. It'll be, I don't know. I don't know. Maybe on the 12th, now that I think about it. I actually might have to do it on the 12th. Um, so yeah, Sagittarius is about vision and goals. It's very futuristic. And so maybe you'll see that you have manifested something mightily through your Sagittarius house. I hope that that's what happens for everybody. I really, really hope. I think that this will be another thing that I think this moon can do for us is to give us perspective and vision. Like it's like, okay, I didn't understand why this happened before, but now I have meaning. It can help us get in touch with the real meaning of life. Um Next down here is the sun will be in Cancer on June 21st. Happy birthday. Happy Cancerian season at that time. We'll hit you up at that time, Cancer. But yeah, the sun will be going into Cancer. I love Cancer season. It is so it can be tender, it can be emotional. Right now, a lot of the planets are not in water signs. So we'll be fine, I think, with this one. But yeah, I love the sun in Cancer because, it's about family. And for a lot of us, sun in Cancer, it's a time to get out and about with family down in the southern part of the hemisphere. It's more of a time of nurturance by going within, whereas up here in the northern hemisphere, it's about nurturance by, going outside and hanging out at the beach. So it's a beautiful, beautiful time when we are in Cancer season, very spiritual and intuitive. Feminine sign. Let's rock our feminine signs when they're here. So yeah, I'm excited about that. And then okay. The last week of the month, it's a little bit sketchy. Oh my gosh. Let's see here. We have Neptune retrograde. So the same thing applies with Neptune retrograde um, that applied to like when I talked about um, Mercury retrograde and Saturn retrograde. It'll be very powerful around that time. And then I can tell y'all, it's a lot that has happened in that Pisces house. So I think that whatever Pisces kicked off, man, yeah. We'll have to kind of think about it. Like think back actually to January, but definitely January through like the top of April. Those were very Piscean times. It was a lot going on in Pisces. So, Pisces is this energy that has to do with miracles and healing, and it's sort of scammy energy. Actually, that makes me like, well, Neptune retrograde, yeah. Around that time, be careful of people that's like trying to get over on you because we're going to have Venus in Gemini, Mercury be in Gemini, Neptune in Pisces. So that makes it very mutable. Whenever we have a lot of mutable energy, it could be a lot of scammers. And I've heard of that. Like today, one of my friends said somebody, she can't get on her Facebook account. I'm gonna say it that way. We're going to have the new moon in Cancer on that day. So very watery energy. We got Neptune in Pisces. We have the new moon in Cancer. Uh, Wowzers. And then we're going to have Sun square Jupiter and Venus square Jupiter. Why? 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 Don't do that. We don't want that. We don't want the sun to square Jupiter. Maybe this is not right. If Venus is in Gemini, it's sextile Jupiter. It's not square. I was about to say, oh my gosh. Um, but that week, I do think it's a time where the energy can be expansive. It'll feel big. You may feel um, like the ocean, like it's something with the ocean. Maybe it's an ocean of emotions, or I don't know. It just may feel like a week where you want to do things to help to ground you. We'll have uh the the solstice is on the 21st. So I'm gonna have a new moon circle for y'all. I mean a solstice circle on the 18th. And then I'll have a new moon circle probably somewhere around the 24th or something like that. To get ready for that new moon in Cancer. Very, very watery energy during that time. So yeah, the last week is gonna be, I would just say that's a week of being a little bit more cautious. That's like the most cautious week that I see thus far. So let's see here. Um, oh, I said I was gonna do a reading for you all. For the month of June. Let's see what we have for the month of June. Energy surrounding the goddess body, mind, spirit community. Oh, this is nice. Masculine energy. I pulled the energy of Shango. Shango. This is the energy of strategy, being confident. Um, it's about being disciplined also, and making sure you don't operate from your emotion. Now it's in Hatap, and when a card is in, when one of these deities speaks in Hatap, that means that it is, the energy is balanced. So what essentially what Haru is saying is that for the month of March, this is a good time to yeah, be disciplined, and to it's an active energy. It's saying you want to take action. Follow your heart. This is the energy of the heart. Follow your heart. Um and I love I love this energy for business. I love it for hey Peg. Okay, honey. I'm glad you're listening from work. Good to hear from you. Oh, Shamika's here. Where's Shamika? I don't see Shamika. Hey Shamika, how are you? You said you love that site after I drank my water. Let's see here. Yeah, Shango. Shango. Oh my gosh. Okay, her sister just picked up her nephew. She's free now. I love that. TT, say goodbye. Go on. Yep. Go on ahead and go home. TT, see you next time. Okay, so Shango, what does Shango have to do with? We definitely can make progress in business. You know, it might be too, even actually when I look at the astrology, a lot of the planets are in masculine signs. You know, we have, well, not, I'll put it this way. Some of the most energetic planets are in masculine signs. So we have Uh, Jupiter and Mars in Aries. The sun is in Gemini. Right now, the moon is in Leo, but that changes on the regular. Mercury will be going into Gemini, so will Venus. And they do that before the sun goes into Cancer. So actually, this is a time for us to perhaps, there's going to be the feminine way, but there's also a call for masculine energy. What does that mean to you? Um, this one, I love one thing that I'm learning in my How to Lead Circle certification is sometimes when we think about the masculine, it's more of like the structure. So maybe that discipline energy, like remind yourself, I am disciplined. Say it over and over and over again. I will stick to the plan because Saturn is about a plan. I will, set up a strategy for how to move forward. Maybe this is a month of strategizing for some of you. Um, but it's more of like it's I don't want to say it's linear, but it's more of it's not necessarily flow. It's more like, come on, let's get some structure. A lot of times masculine energy is like straightforward and direct. The masculine energy that I see here is that Aries energy. So we may want to like up our Aries, which is I'm moving forward with courage. That's Aries. Um, Mars is in Aries also. We're taking action. This is not a month to not take action. Like when the planet of Mars, action is in its sign of Aries, action. Hey, Fallon, then it's very important for us to make sure we're taking action during that time. And Fallon's dating an Aries. I love it. I love it. Dating an Aries in Aries season. Yes, yes, yes. Let me see here. I always think it's more structured and disciplined. Yeah. Yeah. There's a feminine energy that has structure and discipline. It feels different in my opinion. But definitely that's something that I would say for this energy of Haru Shango is that we definitely want to have that structure this year. Okay. So that's in her, I mean, that's in Hetep. Another thing, when we think about the Odu Obara, because Haru, Shango's Odu, Haru and Shango are the same. Shango's Odu is Obara. And Obara speaks to like doing having your spiritual discipline going. That is actually what will bring abundance. Abundance is actually indicated when we're working with this energy of Haru Shango. It's the energy of royalty. Um, and so, yeah, be a leader, walk confidently. That's another key word for this year, this month. Walk confidently. Okay. You definitely need it right now. Beautiful. Okay. Um, oh, I said I was going to pull. I'm trying to make sure I use all of my decks. So I'm going to pull from this deck here. This one is an affirmation. Thanks. Oh, I like this one. It says, the darkness doesn't steal my light. It shines regardless. My light shines regardless. I love that. I think that's really good for right now. The darkness doesn't steal my light. It shines regardless. My light shines regardless. It feels like the world is sort of dark right now. How many of y'all really believe that? Like, I know logically, intellectually, that makes sense. But how many of y'all actually believe that your light shines regardless? I think more of us need to just embrace, more of our light energy and live according to that. Thank you. Thank you, Eileen. Good, Shamika. Good. Yeah, I really like that. I really do. Okay, I'm gonna pull a card to show y'all what this is, what the oracle is saying. This is what we need to do for this month. So, shine your light, affirm that your light shines, no matter how dark it may seem that the world is. Because when we allow ourselves actually to, if we imagine that we were, above the earth, and that's just where we kind of lived. That's where we were able to watch the earth and what's going on. How dark do you think it looks from there? You know, when we say dark, like this heaviness, this depression, um, it's really so much of what we think and how we see the world is largely perspective. And sometimes it's important for us to maybe kind of step in, which when we have this Gemini season that we're in, Gemini is able to step in and really see some details that maybe, huh, I've been like all out here in visionary world that I haven't actually really taken time to look at like, okay, what are all the tasks that need to be done? Or did I read the fine print and, like, do I really know what the terms of contract is? Or, what is it that I need to really be doing? You know? That perspective, we zone in. Sometimes we need to zone out. In the NLP world, we call it chunking down and chunking up. And so, some of us need to chunk up where it's like we're so down in the details, we can't even get ahead. Sometimes when I hear people having conversations, I'm like, the only problem we have right now is folks are arguing about details, stuff that doesn't even matter. Hold on one second. Okay. So, yeah, people are, like going back and forth over small, minor details, but making it seem like these details are actually something really important. And they're not. Um, yes, I love that. Shine bright like a diamond. I love that. Okay, so yeah, I just encourage you to understand that so much of how we're going to see things is, in fact, based on um, our perspective and, just like how have we situated ourselves in the world, in our lives. Some of us need to take a little step back from our life. We go down the list of all the things that are wrong with us. Okay, it's time out for that, right? Some of us, like me right now with my finances, I need to sit down and, balance my books, lay out the spreadsheet. I need to get all in the details. But what am I doing? I'm all out here. I'm like, what live stream can I do today? What can I talk about in my newsletter? Oh no, honey, you need to dial this thing back in. Well, how powerful is it if when we start kind of like living like that, where we are moving ourselves in and out at will, knowing how far in or out do we need to be? And so when it comes to our light is shining, regardless of the darkness, even that is about perspective. Okay. Okay. So, huh. Okay, this is from Mindful Messages, my Mindful Messages deck. It says, when things are the better it gets, that's just what it's called, the better it gets. When things happen that cause me to feel good, I know there are much more good feeling things coming my way. The better it gets, and I keep rising up. So for the month of June, I encourage you to acknowledge all the good things that are happening and to affirm that, oh my gosh, this great feeling thing happened. It could just be somebody spoke to you at the grocery store and you could just say, oh my gosh, this is so wonderful. That felt so good. More of that is coming my way. I dare you, I dare you to invite more good into your life. The world would have us to believe it's not possible. that it's whatever gets to dictate how we feel or what amount of goodness is coming into our lives. Um, and so I just encourage you to, um, yeah, open yourself up. Open yourself up. Okay, let me see here. I keep wanting to make this video, and this is the last thing that I'll share this evening. I'll probably make it just so it's a standalone, but I'll start talking about it here. Um, I can't remember what it was, but a couple of weeks ago, I just got fired up in one of these conversations that I have with myself about the importance of acceptance and what acceptance really means and how we can use this concept of acceptance in order to as a power tool, quite frankly. Um, because what was it? Oh, I should have written it down. But anywho, I am wondering from you all, what does acceptance mean to you? Because what I know is this: acceptance actually brings peace. If we think acceptance means something, but it doesn't bring peace, that's actually not acceptance. It's actually one of the most empowering things people can do. In the manifestation world, we talk about what you resist persists. So the more we resist something, the more we push back up against something. It's largely that perception thing that I was talking about and our judgments. That is what actually brings to us the very thing that we say we don't want. So acceptance is more of, it's not so much it's not being content in the sense that I'm just okay with where I am. It's definitely not complacency. It's not saying I'm okay with where I am, I don't need to do anything. It's more of a state of mind that allows you to release judgment so that you can actually see what it is that maybe needs to be learned, or it opens up space inside of you to be able to figure out what's the next step that you need to make. And so, I don't know. I'm learning more and more the importance of walking in peace. And acceptance is one of the only ways that we can fully walk in peace. And so to me, they go hand in hand. And I would love to know, I'm just curious because I'm convinced, I'm determined to get us to this place of like using acceptance on a regular basis. So, what have you accepted in the past? And you're like, once I accepted this, then everything just fell into place. Maybe that's what we want to do, is to start um, reminding ourselves of the fact of when we did true acceptance. How did that work out for us? Okay. Let me see. Hey, Peg, the last deck is called Mindful Messages. I'm going to hold up I can just hold up the back of the card. I'm pretty sure I found these on Amazon. Mindful Messages. I love these. I love these. So this one is called Present. In this present moment, I have nothing to worry about. I take life step by step as I follow my desires and intuition, joyfully overcoming any bumps along the way. When I live like this, I don't have to worry about the future. It's interesting that I pulled that card. I didn't even plan on pulling another card. I just did it just because I was like, let's just share a little of this deck with Peg. But that's very similar to acceptance. Um, So I'll share some things that have worked for me. So the first one that comes to my mind is the moment I accepted my mom is dying. It's very morbid, but I'm good. I was like, I can just tell the story and I'm at peace, present in the moment. I'm not wounded or anything. Um, but I just did not. I was not ready. I was just like, and it was like all the signs were there. Like my mother had been dealing with this breast cancer diagnosis and it was metastasizing multiple times, for months, years actually. And so yeah, I just remember like not being ready. I was just so resistant and I couldn't wrap my mind around it. And the moment I had acceptance, the hospice nurse said to me, or to me and my father, I think we were the only two home. She said, she wants somebody to come and tell her goodbye. She's holding on because she needs somebody to say goodbye. And she just left it at that. And I was like, huh, she needs somebody to tell her goodbye. I don't know why I remember this, but I was eating pizza. So I set the pizza down. I walked into my mom's room, into the room where she was. And I told her, I know she was tired. If she needed to leave, you know, it was okay. And I guess I am getting a little emotional. That, we were gonna be fine. And I told her that daddy was in the kitchen eating and told her where my brothers were, where my husband was at the time, sister-in-law at the time. And with that, she opened her eyes up because she had been like, I would kind of like closed, but her eyes came open immediately. And she, breathed her last breath. And I just started yelling out, I love you, mama. I love you, mama. And so I think for me, if I had not been in a place of acceptance, which is at that moment, if I could have kept my mom, I would have preferred to have kept my mom. But there was something in me that said that this is a golden moment for you and your mom and your family. And if she needs me to say goodbye, I'm gonna do it. I accept it. I must say goodbye to my mother. And so that ended up being, I think, one of the best moments of my life. It's crazy to hear me say that because I have no question about what was going on with my mother when she died. One of the last things she heard was me yelling to her, I love you, I love you, I love you. And I am so happy that I was able to be present for that moment. Talk about being present. I'm so happy that I was able to be present for that moment for my mother. But it only happened through acceptance because she had been trying to talk to us about, like, okay, I'm dying and there's some things I want you to do. And I never could have these conversations. There's actually some things that I think my mother wanted to tell me, but I was not in acceptance. And by the time I got home, she wasn't talking. Um, And so the gold mine was actually in accepting something that I actually didn't want. So I hope that this is maybe an example of how acceptance actually is highly beneficial. And most of the time, it does involve accepting something where you may not be happy with it. I so wish I could remember there was somebody who was talking. I don't know if it was like in a video or something. They were talking and it made me think, oh, I need to talk about acceptance. I need to talk about acceptance as a superpower. So thank y'all. Yeah. 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 Um, Other times we may feel acceptance is like when we are pregnant and we go into labor. Um, And there's nothing we can do, I am speaking as if women are in charge of their labors and deliveries and stuff, not people trying to control everything we do while we're in labor. But honestly, there's no, I mean, they can give all kinds of epidurals and Pitocin that they want to. At the end of the day, we got to accept this baby's coming. Doesn't matter. It could be, uh, cesarean birth, don't matter. Acceptance, baby on the way. Today's the day. We got to do this thing, you know? And it just puts you in that position of, I just got to be with. Like, to me, that's acceptance, is being very present to this now moment. So many of us live in the future, we live in the past. Um, and so if when we're doing that, when we do not have power, full power in the now moment, it makes us so much of able to receive more of what we want. Let me see. To put my glasses on. Yes, I agree. Such a good one. Acceptance is a very important part of the grieving process. It it is, because initially I remember, actually, now, just keeping with the story that I started with, um I was in shock probably the first 3 weeks. And I remember when it was starting to come to me that, oh my gosh, like, there is this deep feeling that's trying to well up, and, I would try to, like, run from it and stuff. And then, one day I was like, I have to accept she's gone. And the part of the grieving process is resistance, but then at some point, I'm not gonna lie, y'all, I think it took me really full acceptance about 3 years. Um And when I accepted it, I went and tied this purple ribbon on the tree. And I said, okay, I accept my life. This is where I am right now. And I'm going to make the most of it. And I've been doing that ever since, like full on into motherhood. Cause I was like, this grief is preventing me from being fully present for my son. I had my baby boy at the time. My oldest son was my baby boy, my only boy. Um, And, it's like, yeah, I could function and get things done and start getting more. And that's really when I was like, I can't go back. I cannot go back. I think I left the church around that time too. I had pretty much broken up with it inside, but like, I was not going to church. This is me being married to my husband, who very devout Christian. His father is a pastor. His father's church was where we were going. Oh my God. But I showed up way more authentically, and got on my spiritual path as a result. I was like, I'm not gonna fake the funk anymore. After that. Um, y'all know, another time that I've had acceptance is recently. I've talked about my children leaving and being adults, and me switching from being a stay-at-home mom, homeschooling, to, yeah, at that point, I was like, "I'm an empty nester. I don't even know who I am." Budding coach, still working at the nonprofit where I work, but doing new things there. Um, wow. When I finally accepted it, it was like, "Okay, what's the benefits of this now?" You know? So I enjoy my time, that I have to now live my life. My younger son, I still feel responsible for him, but in a very different way. So acceptance, I don't know, it just brings so much peace. But it may not necessarily be you're having to accept something that you're like, I really want it. Probably accept it. You know what? I was about to say, probably acceptance is not about even things that we want, but how many of us know? Some of us aren't good with accepting, I really can manifest good things. It's scary. I remember being that way. You remember thinking, this is weird. I'm scared of success. Really could not, I couldn't wrap my mind around it. But then once I started accepting, I am good at what I do, or I accept that I can figure it out and try to make this happen. I don't have to know all the answers, but I believe in myself. And yeah, I accept this is something that is actually doable. That's when I, um, yeah, I feel way more open to, again, what's for me. Uh, Thanks for sharing. I have a very similar story to that too. So I can 1000% resonate with this. Wonderful, Shamika. Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's for some people, success is scary because it seems well, the best thing to do is to go inside and ask yourself, really, what do you think is going to happen when you become successful? Honestly, that's what most people are afraid of. And it's good to like let the worst case scenario play out. A lot of us are afraid of the worst case scenario. We resist it instead of being like, okay, so if that happens, then what? Um, so, a lot of times people, let me speak for myself. They are afraid like success might make them lose relationships. This is what I felt. It made me feel like I'm scared that, if I get successful, I'll be so different. I won't be able to relate to the people who have always been around me. In the past, I was afraid of people coming for me, like being hated on, trolls, those kinds of things. Um, And also, I was like, "Can I handle the responsibility of success?" And, so once I started, exploring all of that, I'm like, "Okay, I get to choose who I hang out with." Honestly, seriously, it's like a whole bunch of people around me who've been successful. Did they put me down? No. So, okay, this is okay. And then, I started sharing my successes with people, who I've known offline for a while. Yay, that's so wonderful, Tyra. They would say things like that. And I'm like, okay, maybe it will be okay with the people in my life if I find myself wildly successful. Um, then I thought about, okay, so if haters come for me, and then sometimes they did. And sometimes I found out it wasn't even a real hater. It was a bot. I'm like, "Oh, this is what it's like. You just delete their comments." Or, on some of my, videos on EFA, people try to hate on me. Um, you know, there's certain things that I'm just not gonna do in that tradition, and people are like, "Well, you ain't real EFA." I'm like, "Okay, fine. In your opinion, that may be true, not mine." It's just like, whatever. And actually the haters, the ones that were the hardest on me, some of them were men. So that's what made me say, "You know what? Hey sisters, I'm here for the women's." Uh, what was the other one that I said? Oh, can you handle the responsibility of success? That was my thing. Not sure if I can handle it. Then I asked myself, what about the responsibility of mediocrity? How's that feeling for you? Is that working for you? Mediocrity? Do you like mediocrity, Tyra? I was like, I'm miserable being mediocre. I'm miserable not shining my light. This is not fun. It's boring. It's yeah, miserable is how I felt. And I was like, you know what? Let me see what it might be like if I let my light so shine. Right? And guess what? It's me sitting here on YouTube with 4 people watching my video. It's like, no worries. It's all good. And y'all are some of the sweetest people I could ever meet. So if this is what it means to shine, I'm good with it. It's like, whatever. Let's just go for it. Let's just give it a try. Right. Um, And honestly, in a lot of the online groups that I'm on, I always stand out. If I might go into something that's like meditation, if it's on Zoom. I remember one lady, she was like, "I want to get to know you. I don't know you. It's something about you. You're just shining." I've had coaches, I'm a part of their program. And one coach, I was like, I can't afford to be here anymore. I gotta leave. She was like, you know what? You're too valuable to leave. You can stay for free. I was like, what? It's different ways that I've, been shining. And, I'm like, this is doable. It's actually sort of fun. So, ah, I don't try to take over them, but, I go in and this is one thing I love about older entrepreneurs. Baby, some of us, we would go in and we going all out. First of all, we ain't got no kids we in charge of. All right. And we like, I don't know how many years I got left here. So I gotta get this done right here, right now. Ah, exactly, because I'm a road girl, rebel, and do it my way. I love that, Aline. I love that. Yes. Shine bright, no drama over here, quality over quantity. Yep. And honestly, I, one thing about me is I'm very personable. I can do a huge group as long as I can get to start knowing people, make a connection. But, for me, and maybe I'll find things to be a little bit different as time goes on. But right now, I thrive in being personable. So I remember somebody saying they would take 1,000 connected, like, email subscribers or, you know, YouTube subscribers, whatever, over 10,000, just having 10,000, but they're not engaged. They would take 1,000 any day. And I really do get that. Hi, Latasha. Thank you. Hey, Latoya. Good evening. Welcome, welcome. Yeah, quality over quantity. And, I love working with women, and I just find women really love the personal touch. I think we need it. I think it's actually a feminine way of doing business is to get to know the person and um, even if it's a large number, I will create a connection. One thing when I was I have to readjust to stay comfortable. When I was teaching Zumba at Gold's Gym, uh, the room fit like 50 people comfortably. I would easily have like 75 people in the room. Every new person who came, I would greet them and I would tell everybody to speak to the new person or new people. And when it was time to leave, I stood at the door and I said goodbye to everybody and I used their name. I would go out of my way to memorize people's names. I was probably one of the most personable fitness instructors ever on the face of the planet. Because to this day, I may see somebody and they'll say, "When I came to your class, you knew my name." And it was like you were going out of your way to know my name. And that's just for me, that's how it is. I like it when people have a personal touch with me. So let's see here. Uh Catherine Zinkina Manifestation Babe, like this, ooh, she has a lot of people in her world. She's one of the ones that goes wide and big. She knows, she reaches a lot of people. She doesn't know everybody in her community. But there have been times when she has recognized me because I've been a part of several things that she's done. And I'm like, oh my gosh, I love it. Or if I'm on somebody's live stream where it's like a lot of people and they don't really know me, but they say my name. They're like, "Oh, got a comment from Tara," is what they typically say. Got a comment from Tara. Um, and so and so and so. Oh, thank you, Tara. If I'm like like Tyra Banks, please call me Tyra. Anywho, yeah, it's one of the reasons I say y'all's names. Is because that's what I like. I like it when people use my name. Like, I'm not a number. Put a name on me. Give me say the name that my mother gave me, please. Um, so yeah, so very important when we're thinking about success. But going back to this acceptance piece, so important to um, understand the importance of acceptance. It will bring peace and it will bring power. I'm gonna write that down. Acceptance brings peace and power. You'll have peace in the present, and you will have power, the power to um, maybe just understand what is the thing you need to be doing right here, right now. Is there anything in your life that you need to offer acceptance to? True acceptance. What would that be for me right now? I feel like I've done my work for a little while. Um, I think one of the hardest lessons of acceptance, I was just telling a sister this earlier. She's in her early 40s. And I was like, okay, look, I'm gonna give you the short and long of perimenopause right here. Getting ready to give it to you. It's called acceptance. You have to accept once you get in your 40s that you cannot do what you used to do. Oh my gosh, that used to send me spiraling. I would say, when I was this age, 30, even early 40s, I really didn't start struggling until I was about 44. I would say when I was in my late 30s even, I thought it was so hard. I used to just be able to fill in the blank and I could do this. Like when I started going through perimenopause, I was like, "Oh, I'm fasting a little bit because I do intermittent fasting." I was like, "Oh, it's about to come off." If I fasted 8 hours in my 20s and my 30s, maybe 12, just every day, I'm just gonna go a block without eating. And, the rest of the day, I was really good with the eating or whatever. That weight was about to pour off of me, baby. Okay. 44 was like, you said what? Excuse me? Um, that didn't do nothing, honey. I would be like, dang, I almost didn't eat, like barely anything that day. My body was like, I don't know who you think I am, but we finna let you know. We don't do that. Whatever you used to do, you got something different going on over here. And so, yeah, acceptance that the old way doesn't work anymore, only the new way. So, yeah, I would say probably right around 50 is when I finally was like, okay, I really can't eat certain food and I have to exercise. Like my metabolism lies in my exercise too. If I don't exercise, guess what? Either I won't lose weight or I'll gain weight. It used to just make me so mad. Um, so yeah, once I accepted it though, it's just like, okay, I know I gotta, about a rebounder, got a couple of online workout things going on, and that's just how it is. If you want to lose weight, work your muscles. When I do that, I lose weight. Uh Peg's laughing at me. So yeah, I'll leave it at that. Acceptance. Acceptance. So I'm wishing you all a wonderful, wonderful June. Um For sure, this upcoming week, I'll do the Wednesday. I hope that y'all checked out the last one. The first part is the the part where we're doing our energy work and stuff. And then we got off into some long discussion, as we often do. I don't know what that was. I have been thinking about going through some astrology charts to talk astrology with you all. So if y'all have somebody y'all want me to look at, let me know. Shamika. I have to accept that I'm almost 40. Are you 39? Accepting that the old cycle is coming to an end and a new one is beginning. Yes. May I share astrologically what cycle you're in, Shamika? We can talk Shamika and help to understand about different cycles within the cycle. So I'm gonna give y'all an example. Everybody thought 2020 was the year, baby. They were like new decade. 2020. I'm like, says who? 2020 adds up to 4, baby. That's not 1. Okay? 2020 got us together. 2020 was like, we can already change the structure of stuff. I heard so many people say, I did not know 2020 was going to be like this. It's a 4 cycle. Okay? So Yeah, when we see that 0 at the end, in a way, it's a new cycle, and in a way, it's not. Okay, so first of all, Shamika, you not 39, you 38. So you own the 30s, okay? Own it. Don't even talk about 40 right now. Ain't no old cycle coming to an end, okay? Cause you still in your 30s. Um, and I really do mean that. Like, I remember just being like, I just really appreciate this time. But I want us to think about how all these numbers are actually constructs. Is 30 really the end of a cycle? Let's talk about, let's see here. 36 is 1, 37 is 2, 38. You're coming to the end of a 3 year, okay? In astrology, 3 is about the mind. It might be something about like something is changing in your day to day operations, day to day routines. Focus on learning new things. And it could put an emphasis on siblings because the third house has to do with siblings. But I remember my third, when I had a third house year, I was like hyper focused on getting my mindset right. So I just did a lot of mindset work. And so that's no, no, no. Girl, what am I talking about? Uh, but that oh yeah, when I was in my third year, my a 3 year. Peg will be 34, July 5th. Oh, Peg's about to have that's right. Cancerian in the house. 33 to 34. I don't know why I'm going through this big transition. Is it anything you can share on that? Okay. So yeah, 38, 36, 37, 30. It's a 3 year. 39 is a fourth house year. So anytime we're having a fourth house year, see 39 could possibly be more pivotal than 40. 40 is a fifth house year. And so I think that's why everybody kind of bust into the 40s like, I am woman, hear me roar. I'm in my 40s, can't nobody talk to me. I have arrived because it's like a Leo-esque type of year. It's maybe like a year where you do get to just like really shine, but it's sort of like shine based on, all that you've achieved in your life up until that point. Go have some fun, because 41 is a year where you may find you're really focused on your health and your wellness. Um, but there is something to turning 40s. It's like there's a club, right? There's Club 30, and we all love it when I don't know one person who's been like, I just did not like being in my 30s as much as my 20s. Most people say, I never want to go back to my 20s. Um, it's this maturation that happens. But the 40s for me is like, it's a time of reckoning. It's like you gotta start really bringing it together. And so, yeah, yeah. And then the deeper you get into 40s, it all depends. Like I have a friend, let me see, I'm 52. I think she's 55. And I think she is only just now sort of starting to go through perimenopause. It's like we start noticing things differently with our body, but it all depends on every woman. When does she actually really start getting more hardcore into perimenopause? So for me, that the 40s was a huge time of perimenopause. But it's still a time of reckoning. Like the stuff, like all this staying up all night and working all hard and doing too much, your 40s will make you be like, you know what? I can't do that no more. We lose some of our what do we call it? The enzymes in our stomach. Even starting in the 30s, you'll hear the 30-year-olds like, I can't eat and drink the way I used to, right? Um, so, it's like several perspectives that we can take. And then, of course, you take your birthday, the day of birth, and then add it to, um, let's say 5 for 2022 if you haven't had your birthday yet. And that'll give you a numerological cycle. Oh, good, Sharmika. Yeah. A lot of not mind work. Eileen says she's feeling like a crone up in here. Good, Sharmika. So Peg 27, let me see here. 36 is one. Okay, so 35 is 12. 34 is 11. 33 is 10. So 33 is a year that has to do with career. 34 has a year that has to do with being profitable and perhaps like really making good off of what is, making a lot of money off of your work or making a lot of progress, maybe even a focus or an emphasis on friends. But the thing I'm going to tell you, Peg, which I do know you're in the midst of like, okay, what can I do for career? Um, there's probably a lot of other stuff going on in your chart because I know your placements. And I think that some of what's happening is just what's in your chart. There's a lot of energy of transition, big transits or change in your chart based on your signs. So I think that might be playing the bigger role because the 33 and the 34, I see those as potentially really years where you can make a lot of progress. You can really get ahead. So I would be swinging myself in that direction if I were you. I would just be like, whatever I think I need to do to take my career to where I want it to be, that's what I'm going to do. Because 35 is, to a certain degree, a very hard time. Oh, something beep. 35 is one of those years that could be really hard, really, really hard. It's called the 12th house year. And what is the 12th house? It's about liberation through letting something go. It's like you die and you get rebirth again in that first house year, which the first house year is 36. Okay. So, yeah, that's what I think is going on with you, Peg. Okay, ladies, I'm gonna run. It's 9:30 here where I am, so I'm gonna run and get some rest. And I appreciate you all so much. Hope that y'all have enjoyed our chat this evening. And um, yeah. How many times have I come on this week? Twice at least? Yeah, at least twice. I told y'all I'm determined. Okay, got it. It seems like I'm preparing for something and have to be very sure about how I move family and career wise. Yes, Peg. I actually wonder, do you have, what are you resisting? Are you resisting something, Peg? Um, yeah, I don't know why I just hear the word surrender for you. I actually sort of remember being that way too around that time. I think you're doing really, really well, Peg, too. I just want to say that. Okay. Buenas noches, hermanas. Mwah. Okay. Yeah. I want you just to be okay with yourself, Peg. Just receive yourself and accept yourself. It just, I feel like I remember when I was going through this same thing. And it's just what's on the other side. First of all, you'll never have to sacrifice your family or your career. You don't have to sacrifice. You can have all of it. You can have what you want. You might have to have a little balance in that going on. But I remember just being terrified. Am I going to lose my family? Or, you know, for me at the time, I was a stay-at-home mom. So I was always sort of like, am I going to make it? Am I going to be able to do this thing of, homeschooling my kids K through 12? And what ended up happening was, in me accepting my destiny, I just started making YouTube videos in the time that I can make them. Sometimes I was more consistent, sometimes I wasn't. I just said, "You know what? I just gotta do this." I built a website back in 2006, and I was like, "I don't know everything that I need to do with this right now, but I'm just gonna do my best to channel it as best I can." And so I built the website. I would just half butt post to it. It would be like I would get a download and I would, you know, type it up and put it on my website or whatever. Um, I would get like a download and then I would come on and make a video on YouTube. And the rest of the time, I was like cooking and cleaning and part-time job here and there and homeschooling and being a scout leader. And then I would get rid of, I'd be done with all of what I needed to do for the day and I would come and make another video. And I did that for years, not fully knowing what it was that I was supposed to do. I don't know if I ever really saw myself being a life coach. I did see myself doing readings. And that was part of the reason I set it all up here online. It was because, first of all, I live in Tennessee. These people, I have been witch hunted around here. And so I was just like, I cannot deal with these people. And, my husband is a preacher, pastor, whatever. I just didn't feel comfortable. So I was like, let me just do it all online. I can do it, and there was a time when I didn't do videos. I would type everything up and so, people request their reading. I could type the reading up, send it to them or whatever. Um, and so, but I knew that I felt like I was going to eventually do this kind of work. I did a lot of work with my godmother, Oshanike, whenever she needed my help, like with taking women through the initiations or whatever. I just apprenticed for as long as I could. I wasn't quite sure of where I was headed, but I just told myself I would just keep taking steps. And when I was initiating as a priestess of Sacred Feminine Mysteries, I remember just being terrified of losing my family. And I just noticed the more I did this work, it was like my family's not going anywhere. Uh, you know, my husband, talk about acceptance. You know, we're very respectful. And so, yeah, I'll tell him, yeah, I'm doing this in my business. I did this reading and da da da, and this is not his thing, right? But here we are, still kicking it, happily kicking it. Um, you know, y'all know the story of my children. It's like everything worked out. All I needed to do was just take all these little small steps that it was like, I can see I can do this right now. I didn't have to know the whole big picture. All I needed to do was just to take the very next step. And it's so interesting, Peg, because there's some days when I look on my YouTube channel, on my Facebook channel. I've been on Facebook probably 30 years. Not 30, 13 years. I think it's about 13 years. And I will see posts that I made because I remember I would go on Facebook and I was like, oh, everybody's so grumpy. I want to be a light. Talk about light for affirmation. I want to be a light. And I would find a quote. I would go look for a quote and I post it. Half those quotes I'm making into graphics right now. I always look at my memories to see, was there some quote I made? Was there someone who I quoted? Maybe the graphic is actually there because we didn't used to have graphics. So it used to just be the text. And I can see it and I'll copy and paste it and turn it. It was like sometimes I say past Tyra was like whatever she was doing back then, it's like helping me now, all these years later. You don't have to know everything. Just want to take the very next step and it'll show you everything is going to be okay. Just go for it. Because I feel like, Peg, you're resisting because you're like, I can't see it. Like, I don't exactly know what it is. I can sense it a little bit, kind of know, but I can't see it fully. And until I can see it fully, you know, I just don't know about this. Tell me if I'm wrong, Peg. Ah, okay. Yes, I needed that. I need to accept that it's going to be my last that wait a minute, that is going to be my life, not a full-time yes. Hmm. You're in a league of many people making this choice. Ah, thank you, Sharmika. I'm so happy to be here. I thought that's what my calling was, but it's only a stepping stone. I think it's a fear there I might lose myself. I remember feeling that. I think that's very common. I think that's very common in different, for different reasons for different people. Um, I remember that feeling, and you might want to just say, and what happens if you do lose yourself in being a housewife and a stay-at-home mom? A fear of losing my identity or how I used to identify myself. Ah, do you know, Peg, that that's just a part of life? That's just what we do. At one point, you were not a wife, you were not a mom, but you one day you decided, I'm going to take on that identity. I'm going to have the identity of being a wife. I'm going to have an identity of being a mom. I'm going to have an identity of being a nurse. You just made a choice. So you probably need to hear from more people who maybe they did lose themselves and then they found themselves. Anytime you want to have you have questions like that, call me. I have another YouTube channel that maybe I should do it on this one. I don't really focus on motherhood topics on this, but maybe I should. But I do want to start talking about that a little bit more. But I am telling you, this is just what we do. I lost myself in it a little bit. But part of the reason I lost myself in it was because I was like, I'm all in. If I'm going to be a mama, I'm going to be a mama. But let me tell you, every mama is different. I was the type of mama who was like, okay, I got to cook and I got to clean. This is not what I like doing. This is not fun for me. But as soon as I'm done, well, while I'm cooking and cleaning, I got on a podcast or I would buy some class that was on manifestation and listen to it or a CD, Audible, whatever. And while I was out, with my children someplace, I was going to be listening to something, learning something because I was determined I was going to be a businesswoman. So maybe I was taking something that's more spiritual in nature, became a dancer. So a lot of times it was like, well, shoot, well, I'm not doing the mom thing or the wife thing. I'm in here dancing because guess what? I got to go teach Zumba, right? And then, like I said, y'all need to be quiet up in this piece because I'm a YouTuber. You get to choose what kind of mama you want to be. You get to make that choice. Okay. Okay. I'm glad y'all want to hear that. All right. I'll have to keep that in mind. I was the same way now that my kids are older. I find it hard to find meaningful things to do. Still finding myself. Oh, okay. I am so happy we started talking about this. So one thing that I'm clear about is understand your chart. Understand your chart. I'm gonna use Peg. I'm gonna use Peg. So I know Peg has Aquarius and Leo energy. I could see you, Peg, being like one of those women, one of those moms who is like, all right, y'all, we getting ready to have a Zoom meeting and we're gonna organize ourselves and we're gonna, do affirmations and we're gonna sit down and do some planning for the month. And yeah, that's what we're gonna do. We're gonna okay, so who's working on what goal? Okay, let's talk about our health goals. Well, who's going to work on this goal or that goal? Okay, we all got our goals. Okay, who's accountability partner? Great. And then I could see Peg going on to her social media. Okay, all the moms out there, it's June. We know we're about to spend a large amount of time with our children, but that doesn't mean we're going to sacrifice our workouts. Or maybe it's this one young lady who I don't know. Hmm. I really don't know what she is doing with her baby. But when there was all this talk about the formula shortage, she was like, "All right, I need to talk to everybody. We need to stop shaming the mamas that's using the formulas, and we gotta do something to like. How about we try this out? Like I could see Peg being somebody like that. Like if there's some topic, like maybe Peg is like, hey, how about we stop comparing, doing all this comparison stuff amongst our children. Let's just let our children be children. Let's just accept. Maybe my baby start walking at 9 months, your baby start walking at 15 months. It don't matter. Does your baby walk? Like bringing up topics that can help create change for the better for moms. Peg, let a sister know. Is that you? This is how we find ourselves and look what's in our chart. What's your chart, Erie Shay? Like, do you know your sun sign, rising sign, moon sign? Yeah, if we're gonna talk about it on this channel, my other channel is just my name, Ti, two R's and the A. I'm a hot mess over there, y'all, because it's just me and me and my 8 channel members. I'm not actually building that. It's more of like where I go when I just want to talk about something personally. Oh, y'all will see me torn up over there on one of those videos. I was like so torn up about being an empty nester. I was crying. I was like, I don't care what anybody says. I want to cry. I miss my kids. If you can even get through that. Okay. You want me to tell you something, Erie Shay? As a Sagittarius, doesn't matter, what anything else is in your chart. I find this to be true for Sagittarius. If it don't have meaning, what are we doing here? This is what Sag is saying. It's no meaning. What are we doing here? So I say to you, okay, I'm a Jupiterian in the sense that I have Jupiter in my first house, which makes me like a Sagittarius. And so like for Sagittarius, having a goal is so important. So for you, I would say set goals. Set goals that you think are doable as a mom, because sometimes we as moms don't set goals because we're like, it's just gonna get messed up. I'm gonna start working on it and I'm not gonna be able to finish it because somebody's gonna walk through my door and they're gonna be saying, Mama, I need this, and Mama, I need that. Mama, what you doing? I'm working on something right now. That's what I'm doing. Can you take me here, Mama? Can you take me there? Oh, or shoot, I'm gonna get started and then I'm gonna have to stop because I'm gonna have to make sure the kids go to bed. We all know this, okay? Those of us who have been down this path. But we still gotta just do it. One of the things I started telling myself is I just gotta freaking figure out. I started learning how to work in sprints, baby. I'd be like, all right, I'm gonna give it a good 15 minutes and then I'm gonna evaluate. Of course, when they get older, it's like, okay, let me to give it a good old 25, hardcore 25 minutes. Pomodoro this thing, baby. I'm getting ready to do Pomodoro this thing to death. And so I just started appreciating, oh my gosh, I got like 25 minutes done. I'm really excited about that. Children will make us realize how much we can get done if we would just but focus our attention. But seriously, for Sagittarius's, y'all need goals. You need something, it needs to be meaningful. So what's meaningful to you? Yes, you are new here. I remember that, Erie Shay. Yeah, what's meaningful? And so for you, something else I think would be great is to read things that inspire you. And that will help you quite a bit also feel, that little like life, like, I don't know. It's so hilarious to see all the white girls. They love using this word juicy. Life will feel juicy. Oh, okay. Let me see. Is there anything else? Yeah, I think Peg got me going right there. Peg got me going. Get me talking about mama topics, okay? Actually, you'll hear me talk about somewhat about motherhood. That channel is not real old. I actually started it because I made some videos about my older son going to the Coast Guard Academy. So that's how I started that channel. And then I talked a little bit about, my weight loss vlog. And uh, I think I started talking a little bit about, like, things I want to share. Mm, yeah, I want to share as a mom because I just miss it. I miss those days. I want to help the younger moms. I want things to not be so hard, you know? It's time for us to do better at mentorship with the younger women. And so I'm here for y'all. Okay. I do not want y'all to be struggling and suffering. No. Flow and ease, right? Happiness, peace, joy, power. Oh, I need this. It helps guide me through this. Yes. It feels better knowing I'm not alone. Yeah. Let me tell you, Peg, motherhood is the oldest profession. I don't care what they say. Before there was prostitution, there was motherhood. Um, yeah, you're in real good company. And you will find the women. First and foremost, I want to be part of that tribe of yours. Uh, but you'll find the women who y'all are like, we're in this together. We are not meant to be doing this alone. And we need to come together and have the conversations. And, I remember, I became a priestess. I started the initiation when my younger son was 6 months old and my older son was 3. And my friend Erica, priestess Erica, she had 2 children. Well, actually, yeah, 2 I don't know. Anywho, it seemed like she was pregnant, just had a baby or something. Her second 2 were so close together, I get confused. 2006. She must have when we finished, I think she had just had her second baby, but there was another one there somewhere. I don't know. She was working on becoming a professional engineer. And so after we initiated, like once a month or maybe it was once a week, we would get together and we would talk about what we wanted to focus on. And these people, they do what I do. I kind of got this, what I do, like talking about the astrology and sharing wisdom and numerology and stuff. They would, we would buy these things from them, like this, sort of like a journal guide. And we would download them, old days of the internet, download them. We would print them off and we'd get on the phone with each other and we would fill them out. And it was very spiritual, or not very spiritual, but it was like on spiritual topics. I think we did that for about 2 years before these people stopped releasing that stuff. And then there were times when we would meet once a week and we'd check in and we were accountability buddies and we'd talk about, the struggles or the triumphs of motherhood. And, I had other people who lived here. Like Eric and I, we haven't lived in the same city. Ooh, it's too long to count, over a decade. But outside of that, I would find 1 or 2 moms locally. Maybe we would get together a little bit, but it was like I would just sort of find people, to have meaningful conversations with them. I never was good with small talk. I could do it for a little bit, but I was always going to have to find somebody where we could have deep, meaningful conversations. Started figuring out which ones were a little bit witchy and woo woo and, sort of like me. And yeah, we would get together and hang out. So I feel like I was sort of like this year kind of mama. Okay. I had a little bit of old schoolness to me. But I was always like doing things that made me happy, in addition to all the other things that we have to do with motherhood. They hit neck and neck as the oldest profession. That's right, Eileen. Yeah, the other channel, I think it's just my TI 2 R's and an A. I don't know. Let me see here. Uh, This is crazy. Somebody has my name, and it's a male. Yeah, I'm probably not even coming up in the search engine. Uh, oh, I got 17 subscribers over there. I don't even know why they I don't even know. Uh, your channel. Let me see. Mm-mm. Girl, I see why you can't find me. Oh my gosh. Aw, here we go. I know. I'm like, what is he doing? That's my name. Took my name. Are you kidding me? Yeah, he probably has more videos. That's what it is. He has over 5,000 subscribers, 167. He's out of Brazil. I really can't stand him. No, I'm kidding. Ah. Oh my gosh. Okay. But yeah, there it is, if you can see it. Okay. Let me see here. Look, now I'm curious. I'm like, every time I turn around, I'm like, why if I put in Tyra, why am I seeing this? But anywho, y'all, thank y'all for hanging out with us, sister. I appreciate you. And yeah, okay. So if you're gonna be going over there, I may start making a few more videos over there. The other one is on YouTube. You can, I mean, on Facebook, the homeschool expert. But I don't really. I share more like homeschool stuff there. I did that when the pandemic first started. Um, so yeah. Okay, thank you. Yeah, I have to make some more. Just I like just sharing my musings that I don't know. I could do them here, but yeah, this one I don't know. I just kind of keep it more specific. So, all right, for the last time, I'm going ahead and log off. Mwah. Love you all so much. I'll be back soon. I feel like I have a lot I want to talk about. So, yeah, let's do this. Love y'all. I appreciate you so very much. Have a wonderful rest of the weekend. Have a wonderful, beautiful May. Peace. Thank you. Have a good night, Shay. Appreciate you.